Good evening and welcome to Financial Friday. I'm Minister Sharon Brumfield standing in for Dr. Burns. And of course, we have the co host here, James Jones.
How you doing? Hello, everybody.
So, James, what do we have on the plate today? You want to do a little review or you want to jump right in?
I would like to do a review.
Okay.
So, over the course of our time on Financial Fridays, we talked about. I was just talking about this before we started. So, we got you. First, we got you identifying your income. Then we got you identifying your expenses. Then we got to the point of how to what does financial stability looks like? What is the goalpost? What is the plan? How does those things look? And then we talk about reducing income. We talked about increasing income. We talk about stabilizing the increase of your income. With all of that, now we're talking about what's next. And for those of us who are in business, those of us who wish to be in business, this is the next step. This is talking about how do you start the business? What does that look like? What does that encompass? So we're gonna get all into it today.
All right. Good. Well, I'm ready to get started. I see Elder Perry has joined us. Good evening, Elder Perry. Glad that you were able to make it on this evening to Financial Friday. We've learned so much. Before we were live, I was talking to Brother James and just, saying at whatever step we are in when we're getting our finances together, during these times we've been here on Friday evenings, I've learned so much. And we can grab the nuggets and apply them, specifically looking at those areas that you gave us and those percentages. I'm really focusing in on those, right now, making sure that I'm getting those percentages of where my money needs to go and giving my money an assignment. So thank you for that. It's really been so helpful.
Oh, you're welcome. It's just I'm just teaching what I've been doing and what God gave me. So, and I think that's how we grow not just as individuals, but as a community of people. If one person has a good idea, that's nice. But if one person has an idea that's working, share it and let everybody know this idea is working. And then that way everybody comes to the next level and we're all at the next level together versus one
Yeah,
person sprouting up and everybody looking like how you do it.
right.
Well, let's just be honest and say, this is what I'm doing. This is how you get there. And this is how you start doing what I'm
Yeah. And then last week, that conversation about the grinder versus what was
Hustler.
this? Hustler. Yes. I
Yes.
was looking at that and I said, sometimes, I'm in that hustle mode where I'm, just getting things done. And then other times I'm in that grinder mode. I think in general, I'm a grinder because I have a specific focus. But
Yeah.
inside of there, I couldn't become a hustler getting things done, multiple things done that I need to get done. So that was a very good conversation last week.
Yeah, it was fun because somebody asked the question, grinders versus hustlers, and I was kind of paused because I'm like, well, we need each other. And then it was like, well, keep be a grinder hustler. And that term grinder hustler, I think that's what you're referring to, the grinder hustler mentality. And I understand that in my field. So in my field is real estate, or a broader field is logistics. So even though I'm really good at logistics, inside the scope of logistics, there's thousands upon thousands of microcosms of real estate, property manager, landowner, portfolio management, portfolio asset management, logistics, transportation with medical or just civilian or truck driving. Like all of those things happen under the umbrella of logistics. So if you said, well, I'm a hustler in logistics, well, that means you're a grinder in logistics. So being a grinder hustler was very spot on, as some people start talking about. So I had
Yeah,
a fun time just entertaining that. And
right.
I do like my hustlers out there. And I want to give a good shout out to all the hustlers out there. If you're
Mhm.
in not in a single field like logistics, but let's say you're in music, you're in teaching, you're in dancing, you're in a lot of stuff. Even though it sounds like that's in inside entertainment, you're also in talent management, and you're in organization, and you're in counseling, all of those in multiple different fields of just entry, that's what I think a hustler is. And those people, I think, are profound because they're able to multitask on many different levels and keep everything juggling. And then at the end of the day, they may be a little tired, but they did get a lot accomplished. So I do like my hustlers out there.
All right. So before we even jump into the lesson, if you're on today, make sure you like this live tonight and share it with your friends. Put it in the inbox, send it out, get the link and send it in the text. Financial Fridays have really been a blessing. And so there's so many tools that we're receiving each and every Friday night. And so share this with someone else. We're not going to keep this to ourselves. It's not going to be the best kept secret. We want everyone to have tips and tools so that they can have the financial freedom that they desire to have. All right. So James, you go ahead and get us started.
Okay. So let's get started with the basics. There you go. Yay. It's the slide. So this is Rise and Thrive live with Dr. Anthony D. Burns. I'm co-hosting, and Minister Brunfield is also co-hosting with me. So let me say this. Good evening to all my grinders. Because tonight we're going to be talking about getting started. So on Financial Fridays, when we originally talked about this, it was a race and everybody was in the race and you had to be old enough to hit the race. But when the gun went off, you ran towards the horizon. This is after you get past the one horizon of getting yourself financially stable. Now we're at the next one, which is just getting started, which is getting your business off the ground. So with that, we're going to talk about some major and key components to getting yourself off the ground, getting yourself started, and getting yourself in the race. With these is going to be how to create ideas and research, market analysis and planning, financial planning, the legal structure, how do you incorporate yourself, brand development, product development, setting up your own operations, which I think is key for everybody, is how do you set up your operations, your market and sales strategy, your launching and growth, and then the last one, but never the least important, is your customer service and retention. How do you follow up and how do you retain the people that are loyal to you? So we're going to talk about all those things right here tonight. All and right. I'll probably go in depth another day, but we're talking about it all. We're going to hit all these areas tonight.
All right. Sounds amazing. Let's get started.
Okay. The first one is idea generation or idea creation. This is your research. Now, one thing that I always talked about is that when you're starting a business, the things that you can do the quickest, the most effective, are things that you're passionate about or things in which you are interested in. And the reason for that is because if you're passionate about it, you will do a lot of research and understanding without anybody telling you. If you have a lot of interest in that, you will do what it takes in order to develop that interest. So if you're passionate about something, you have skills in something, and you're highly interested in something, those are the ideas that you want to cultivate into a business. So with that being said, if you're very skilled about skateboarding has a trend. It has an ebb and flow. It has a rise and fall. But if you're inside that community, then you know what it is. So you know how the market trend is, you know the gaps, you know all the potential. Like, how do you make a better skateboard? How do you make it longer? How do you make it shorter? How do you do what you're already loving to do? Easy, because people who love how to skateboard, they have different ideas on what they want their skateboard to do. How do they want their skateboard to function? How do they want their skateboard to roll? If they want to roll faster or slower? And then that allows people to grow in that idea. And these are just different ideas that help people grow and move forward in their idea creation.
Okay. All right. So when you're talking about starting your business, you have these in order of importance, or in the order in which we should start, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And the reason for that is because you don't need to talk about building a customer base if it's something that you're not interested in, because how fast do you lose interest in something that you hate? Because money is nothing. So let me throw that out there so everybody understands that money is nothing. If you had $10 million, however, to get the $10 million, you had to eat a pea every single day for the rest of your life. Some people will be like, "Oh, I'll make it work." Some people who like eating peas will be like, "Oh, that's the easiest thing ever."
Right.
But the difference is, if you truly hate peas or you're allergic to peas, it doesn't matter how many shots you get. Eventually, you're going to miss a day eating a pea because you're not passionate about it. The same is true with a company. Now, if your passion is opening up companies, well, then it doesn't matter what the company does. Your idea or the things that you like are opening up companies. If your idea is, I want to make $1 million and I'm just going to do whatever's out there, well, then you may be doing whatever's out there. But if you don't show passion or show love or show an interest in it, it's hard to retain customers without showing that initial love for what you're doing. Because when you say, "Man, this is the best thing ever, I'm the best at this," and people don't see it, they don't feel it, then you're missing that little jelly thing that no one can explain. You're missing it, but everyone can pick up on it. And that's how you lose customers. So you want to get your idea of what you're passionate about first. And then the benefit about all of this is that when you get something that you're passionate and interested in, it's not a hard leap for you to do research in your own area. If I like motorcycles, it's not a leap for me to understand, hey, I may want to go to a motorcycle show. It's not a leap for me to say, hey, you know what? Because I like my idea so much, let me see what other bikers like. And then I can tailor myself to other bikers. Whether I like a sport bike or a dirt bike, if I just like motorcycles, I may get a Harley, I may get an Indian, because different brands, because those are cruisers. I just named cruiser bikes. So a Harley Davidson is a cruiser. An Indian is also a cruiser, but it looks like a Harley. And then you got the Honda, which is in the same cruiser position. But if you're not passionate about it, you may think all bikes are the same and not know that a cruiser is different from a sport bike, different from a dirt bike, different from an adventure bike. But once you're passionate about it, you actually are inside the culture, and you know the things that adventure bike riders may want that sport bike riders may not want. And then you can make a product that is tailored to people in those particular categories. And then that's how you can become better at what you're marketing. Versus if you hate motorcycles and you think they're completely dangerous and you think they're only toys, it's going to be really hard to be in that culture and get enthused with how much information is out there. And this is just by regular riders. Asking people, well, what do you do on Saturdays and how you ride? Those things can get very annoying very quickly if you're not passionate about it. Me, I like going fast. So it's very easy for me to ask a bunch of people who love to go fast, how to go faster. What do you want to go faster with? What kind of jackets y'all wear? What kind of boots y'all wear? What kind of safety equipment are you wearing with? That's a good helmet, but what does it do if it's under impact? How does it survive? And those, even though they're just conversation, my passion and love for going fast will influence my research. So now when I take notes, I know the product that I want to bring to the table, and it's a lot easier for me to gain valuable knowledge and insight to a potential customer, because that's who your fan base is.
Yeah, that's important to have passion. If you're passionate about something, you're going to do it no matter what's going on. It doesn't matter if you have enough or you have more than enough. It doesn't matter what's going on around you. It doesn't even matter if you're tired. If you have passion with it, then you're always going to be reaching. You're always going to study it. You're trying to get all the information you can find about it. You're always thinking about it. And so that's that's a good idea to have your plan first before you even try to look for customers. What are you even doing, and is this something that you're passionate about?
Yeah. Now it is different though. So let me do one small caveat. Like I said, there are some people who passion is just to make businesses.
Mm-hmm.
That person who passion is to make businesses, they're not passionate about the product. They're just passionate about making successful businesses or running successful companies. Typically, those people like to find people who's passionate, and they typically come with money. They're typically the ones who come with the financial resources, and then they try to link up with somebody who's passionate about that field that they're interested in buying into. So if I was passionate about building a company, I would probably hook up with a guy by the name of Tony Hawk if he's still doing skateboard. But Tony Hawk was a really big skateboarder back in the day. Guess what? If I wanted to do a skateboarding company and I had Tony Hawk to bless off on it and say, this is the best skateboarding company in the country, right? He's a skateboarder. He's a legendary skateboarder. If he was to take interest in what I'm doing, then that would make my company go further. If I wanted to do a talk show and I said, hey, Oprah Winfrey, I'm doing this talk show. I would like to build it. I just need you to come in and design a set, and I want you to pick out the host. When she does all that and she blasts off and say, hey, introducing the newest talk show host coming in, I tutored her, they're the best person ever, right? Oprah Winfrey, in her field, in her study, I just paid all the money to it, but because I like the business. Oprah is going to bless off on it, and she's going to get a portion of that. But that business is more than likely to be successful because the people that I'm involving myself in are passionate about it. So I do want to do a caveat about that. If you are a person who loves to open businesses, then more often than not, your passion would be to connect with other people who are passionate about the business that you want to be passionate about. Which is a lot to say that if you're passionate about starting a business, you got to find a person who's passionate about that field that you want to start a business in. Okay. If that's not you, which is the vast majority of us, your first adventure, and I call this just an adventure, your first journey in business or your first adventure in business should be tailored. Should. That means for the best possible result, need to be tailored to something that you have an interest or passion about. And then that way, the longevity of you doing it is that much more.
Okay. Got it. All right. What else you got, Brother James?
Okay. Following that one following with just having an idea is the market research. And this is where your idea hits the next level because you have a good idea about something that you're passionate about. So if you like rock climbing, and I'm using all of these examples because I want everyone to know that these are thousands upon thousands of examples of people who are passionate about what they like to do. If you like rock climbing and did I get it? Yeah, okay. Market research. This is where your idea goes into the next level. Now you're not looking at your idea, you're looking at the ideas for other people and you're defining that idea. So if you was a mountain climber, and this is before the beds came out for mountain climbing. If you was a mountain climber, an avid mountain climber, what is one of the biggest things that you couldn't do? When you get tired and you're climbing a mountain, it's kind of hard to pull over and go to a hotel. So you need to design a bed that can handle your weight, your class, as well as get stuck inside the mountain or wherever you're climbing so you can go to sleep. That's an example of somebody who saw a need because they was a rock climber. So the rock climbing bed was designed by a rock climber who saw a need. Hey, guess what? When I climb a mountain and I get tired, I would like to take a break. So they built a contraption. I'm not going to sleep in it though. I'm dangerous. I'm not that dangerous. So they built a contraption that hooks into the rock and you can sleep dangling about thousands upon thousands of feet in the air. Now, that's not going to be me, but that's not my passion. Somebody else who had a passion for it saw the need for it, and then thus they now have it. Now if you go mountain climbing and you want to take a nap or rest on the side of a mountain, You now can, because somebody did the market research, they defined their target. I'm a rock climber, I'm going to get other rock climbers. Then they asked people, hey, what are you missing? I think we should have a bed in the sky. Yes, let's have a bed in the sky. And then you analyze your competitors. The product that I'm talking about, when it first came out, it was by itself. There was no other competitors in that market. Now, if you want to get a bed to sleep in as you're rock climbing, there's a lot more competitors out there because of that. In my particular field of property manager or portfolio management or renovation management, whichever one that you would like to get involved in my particular field, there's a bunch of people out there. There's a bunch of different companies out there, and then there's a bunch of different mom and pop shops out there. So what makes me different? And then that's where market research come in. Who are my customers? Who do I want, and who am I targeting? Those things are all done by market research. Plus, it's always good when you're passionate about something to know who are your competitors. If you're just getting started and you're starting in a field that's already swarming with people, it's good to know who's on your level, because you may think you're going against everybody, but that's simply not true. For my particular field, there's a lot of people out here, but not everybody is doing 16 plus units. Not everybody is doing 5+ units. Some people are just sticking to single family. Some people stick to single family and duplexes. Some people stick to duplexes and triplexes and quadplexes. So even though it's a field of portfolio management, asset management, and property managers, there's a whole field of us out here. Not everybody is doing the same thing that I'm doing. So it's good to know who my competitors are. And then that way I am better able to go against my competitors, as well as to make myself different to all of my customers. And to all of my potential customers, I have a better angle at who I am trying to appease. And that's market research and planning.
Right. And that's a major part of your business plan. When you're creating your business plan, and analyzing the competitors and seeing who's out there that's doing the same thing you're doing, and what do you bring that maybe they're not bringing, or they are, but you've taken it up a notch, correct?
Yes. Because you always need to know what somebody is doing. Now, if you're the only person in your area, in your field, then that's a fantastic opportunity for you. However, there's a lot of people who can see change and they just don't know how to make it or how to implement it. It's like the electric car. The electric car was already in production before Tesla. Just so you know, before Tesla, the electric car was already in production. It just wasn't mass produced and it wasn't marketed as well as Tesla is doing now. So what happened? Somebody saw a need and he saw a way to put it out on the market in a mass production type of area. And that's what he did. So now the electric car is not as big as the gas car, but it is a name by itself, Tesla. There are other electric cars out there, and there are some hybrids out there. But the biggest car manufacturer that we know of that does electric only vehicles is called Tesla. Mm-hmm. Currently, a bunch of small companies are doing a car called hydrogen. So it's a hydrogen car that runs off water, completely fuel efficient. You never have to recharge it. But guess what? No one has brought that vehicle to a major market to mass produce it. Now, is it politics involved? Is it legalities involved? I'm sure all of that plays a part. But until somebody brings that to the market, everybody is in a mom and pop type of environment where one person is making it, but not everybody. But once it starts being mass produced, somebody may come with another idea and say, I know how to make it more efficient. And thus, then you have competitors. So you always be mindful of those things.
Yeah. When you were talking about knowing what's going on and being able to shift and change, it reminds me of when COVID came. and companies had to begin to shift. And those that didn't make it. You know, they had to go to more. I just think of restaurants. They would make those plastic bubbles with the heat inside so that people could still come and eat at their restaurant, or, you know, having the DoorDash and Uber things going around so that people could still eat when the pandemic had shut down everything. And so it's continual. If we don't shift and make things better and make them more proficient, then businesses again would begin to fall away.
Yes. That's how teleworking. So how do Zoom and Team and Google Meet and StreamYard and YouTube, and how do all these platforms now become way more accessible? Because at first Zoom was all we had, and then it was first it was like what, Yahoo. Then came FaceTime. I think FaceTime was next, and Yahoo wasn't that good. It wasn't that quality. But then we had COVID-19. And now it's a rush to make sure every business is still in production and can still be formatted and still be alive. If it's going to be alive, it got to be moving. And then that's what created or boomed the entire market of face-to-face communications. And now people have put a lot of money into making sure that their product was that much better than everyone else's. But that's a good thing. Sometimes when you see a crisis, instead of being distraught about it, let your mind work. How do I fix this? How do I make it better? How do I come out of this more successfully? And that's what Minister Brumfield was talking about. A lot of people switched up and said, if they can't come to me, I want to make sure my food is going to them. So Uber Eats, DoorDash, self-driving vehicles, the drone delivery service, Amazon Prime, all of these things came out of making a product suitable for its people and coming back with something better. So yes, knowing that you're developing your business plan, but being able to be flexible that it may change at a situation.
Yeah. Let's see who's joining us tonight. Let's see. We already said good evening to Elder Perry. Deacon Boone is on with us. Good evening, Deacon Boone. Latrita is on with us. Good evening, Latrita. If you guys have any questions or comments regarding the topic tonight, please put them in the comments. If you haven't had an opportunity to like and share the live tonight, make sure you do that. Share it so that someone else can come and be a part of Financial Friday and get these tips that Brother James is giving out tonight. All right, James, what's next?
I'm actually liking and subscribing now. Like, I'm not liking and subscribing. I'm putting my hearts up. There's some good stuff, man. But so you want to continue past marketing. Now we get into more concrete items like legally structuring and registration. So you got past your idea. It's a good idea because you thought of it and it was the best idea that you thought of. Good, great. Now you did market research where you talked to enough people. Even if you're local, if you're talking to local people and you have a local problem, who knows? Your local solution may be a national solution. And if you understand that, then you know how duct tape got its name. Duct tape, just so you know, does not work good on ducks. Even though that's what it was designed for ducks, it just doesn't work good on duct tape. And we use it for everything else except for air ducts, but it's still duct tape. So you got to understand and be flexible. You got to understand what you're doing. And then once you get to having an idea, having a marketing and planning, now it goes to legal structure. Choosing a legal structure in the beginning is huge. Sole proprietor is where you may want to lean to, but as a sole proprietor, you're putting all the information and backs on yourself, and you become liable by yourself. When you're starting, most people will go with the LLC. It is very flexible. It allows you to have a lot more maneuverability, and you can structure it however you seem fit. Plus, if anything was to go wrong, your LLC can take the hit versus you by yourself as a sole proprietor. It allows you also to have taxes go through the business, and then it hits you as a sole proprietor, but your EIN is what's up and blocking, and that's your LLC. Following that one is your partnership. Now you can have a partnership where somebody has a majority or is a general partner. Everybody else is just a regular partner. That allows you to have a lot more maneuverability. And typically your general partner is either your investor or someone who has a bigger stake in the company. Then we move on to different corporations. Now there's the S corporation and the C corp. Unfortunately, I am not well versed in C corporations, but in S corporations, you facilitate it as though it is its own entity. It does all its own work, and then the money passed through as a sole proprietor to the person over it. You can have more stakeholders. You can have 100 stakeholders. You can have 100 stakeholders in the company, but the sole person is still the owner of it. With the C corporation, you can have unlimited stakeholders or shareholders in that company. It can produce a dividend. That's pretty much all I know about that, about C corp.
All right. Well, tell us a little bit more about the tax portion of, the different tax portions, if you're versed in that.
Oh yeah, this is fun.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
from the sole proprietorship to partnership to LLC to corporation, what are the differences in those tax brackets and things like that?
Okay, so secretly, this is how you make money. Now I gotta say secretly, because if you don't know, then you don't know. So secretly, how you make money is that your business is incurring a debt. So if you're a LLC, an S corp, or corporation, that entity is absorbing all of that debt. If you're a sole proprietor, you're absorbing all of the debt, and you're absorbing all of the risk, and you're absorbing all the liabilities. As a partnership, the general partner is absorbing all of the debt, all of the liability, all of the revenue. So there's not anything bracing what you got going on. So from a tax purpose, from a tax standpoint, if you're a sole proprietor or you're in a partnership and the general partner, you're taking in you're taking in a big portion or most of the revenue, but you're also taking in a lot of the debt, liability, and responsibility, which can hinder you because you can't separate the two if you're a sole proprietor or general partner in a partnership. If you're a partner, not a general partner in a partnership, but if you're just a partner in a partnership, then you do have some leeway, but you don't have any tax breaks. So you can't be a regular partner and say, I want to write off the business that we bought. You can't, because the general partner has wrote off the business that you guys bought, because he's the general partner. He's the one taking on all the liability. Now, when you move past that, now this is where it gets fun. This is when I say it gets fun, I can't tell you how much fun you can have, because I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I haven't reached the limit of paying $100 for taxes. I haven't reached that limit yet. I seen Donald Trump do it. Hey, give me a couple more years and I'll be right there. But so as an LLC or as a corporation, you have the ability to start an entity. That entity allows itself to take the brunt. So all of your legalities. So if you buy property or you sell products, that legal entity as an LLC or an S corp takes the brunt of that, because that's your branding, that's your marketing, that's your packaging, that's the company. With that, you also have a credit score number that goes along with that LLC. Now, behind that LLC, whether an LLC or an S corp, you have your person. So you have the business here. Let me make sure so you can see me. The business is here, Behind the business is the person. The business is held liable for any wrongdoings that the business does. The business also can hire and fire employees because the business is allowed to do that because the business is its own entity. Since the business is its own entity, it can also take out loans, it can default on loans, it can claim bankruptcy, it can be dissolved. The benefit of all of that in all integrity. So I'm not going to tell you what to do if you don't have integrity, but if you do have integrity, the benefit of that is that if your business goes under, it does not affect the person who started it. If the business does good, the revenue still goes to the person who started it. If the business accrues a lot of debt, the business may have to default or go into bankruptcy. That does not hurt the person who is owning that LLC. So there's a lot of other stuff you can do too. So you can buy your own vehicles through your business. You can buy equipment through your business. You can take out loans through your business. You can do everything you can do as a person. That entity, that company, that business can do all those same things. So if you understand what you're doing, your business can literally be the front man, so to speak, for everything that you got going on. So all your property or all your products, all your services are going through the business because the business has the ability to hold liability. Behind you is the person. So the person is not getting hit with all of the liabilities in case something happened. You're not getting hit with the discrepancies in case somebody hates you. You yourself is not being listed in most of your business structures because your entity has its own address. That means people are less likely to find your information because if they look up the business owner, you would not be listed, only your business. So it allows you to not be seen as often or without research, heavy research.
Right.
And the benefit of having an LLC or a corporation in tax purposes is because when it's time to file your taxes, your business is actually incurring the debt. Your business has incurred the liability. Your business has incurred some revenue. Now, and it does not affect the owner except for in certain ways. So if you do not mitigate your gross income, that can hurt you as an LLC or as an S corp. Now, if your company buys equipment, buys items, buys stuff, and it has to maintain that stuff, then you can write all of these things off on your taxes, which reduces the revenue that the business brings in, thus making what you are paying in taxes significantly less.
Okay, so you said a whole lot. That was a mouthful. First, I want to just say good evening to Minister Pfeiffer. Thank you for joining us tonight. And so when you say that it's separate, and the business is here and the business owner is back behind the business, is that because when you're applying for loans or purchasing things, you're doing it through the EIN number and not your own personal Social Security number? Or is this something? Okay.
Now, in the beginning, this is something that's very common, very common. In the beginning, you may have to personally certify the loan, which means I'm trying my best not to be so wordy, but the personally certified loan means that you, the person, is certifying that this business will pay that loan back. That is very common in the beginning. But after, I want to say about 2 or 3 years, and it goes by a lot faster than you think, but after about 2 or 3 years, the business can certify its own money. And that's what you want to happen, because eventually, as the owner, you want to move out the way and you want to put people in charge of making sure the business is operating by itself, because that's what most business owners want. They want people in place to run the business and then send the check to the owner. So in the beginning, you don't want to do sole proprietor. I guess I can't say that because it may be somebody who wants to. In the beginning of starting your company, you may want to do sole proprietor or partnership. As your business develops, you want to have an LLC developed and established. And the reason for that is exactly what I'm telling you, is because as your business grows, you want to have that LLC take on the taxes and liability of those taxes, as well as operational costs and the cost to maintain the people who operate it. So you want your business to do the business side, and then that frees up the owner from paying taxes or being held liable by any circumstances the business may run into. So if you was a mom and pop and you bake cakes, right? So the best way to put it is mom and pop bakes cakes. And then this one is mom and pop's LLC bake cakes. They both look the same and they both act the same. The difference is if they get sued, the mom and pop store can lose everything. That means they can lose the store that baked the goods. They can also lose the car that had nothing to do with it. They can lose their house because they're sued. They can lose their children's college fund if they get sued to a certain degree. Mom and Pop LLC also gets sued the same way. Well, they can lose the bakery and they can lose their delivery truck, but the kids' college fund will be secured. The house that they paid for is secured. And the reason for that is because the kids' college fund is paid for by the owner. It is not part of the business. The mom and pop, the home, is paid for by the owners. So it is not liable to get taken away with the business. That is the best way to put it between a partnership, a partnership and sole proprietorship versus an LLC or a corporation.
Okay. So for those who are listening tonight and they may be a sole proprietorship, can they change that? Or do they have to start something new? Can you just transfer that business and upgrade it to an LLC and not stay at a sole proprietorship?
Yes, LLCs are the easiest. So you can change it to the term that you're looking for is DBA, is doing business as. However, if you're a mom and pop, no one is going to question you taking mom and pop and changing it to an LLC. No one's going to question that because it's just not on the radar. I'm not saying that to be facetious or to say, ha ha, look at me. I'm telling you that because I want you to know that you don't have to go through a lot of legal ramifications by changing your mom and pop store to an LLC. You'll just change it legally and no one would know the difference. You can actually change it to an S corporation if you want to, or a C corp if you want to. It's just that changing it from a mom and pop to a entity that has the protection to afford you, that's something that you have to decide on your own. But if you're a sole proprietorship, I can only recommend that you do put something in that field because you do want to protect yourself. And in an event that something does happen to you, you can always give your business over to someone else. You can give it over to a family member, to a son and daughter, without it going into probate. And that's just a way for the government to take taxes or take money from your business before giving it to someone else.
Okay. And just another question in that area. So once you do the DBA, doing business as, are there some fees attached to that, monthly fees, yearly fees that a person would need to be aware of?
Oh, yes. The cheapest one is the LLC. So that's why I normally suggest the LLC. In Wisconsin, I believe the monthly fee is about $150, but it is tax writable. So instead of being a sole proprietor, if you became an LLC inside the state of Wisconsin, you'll be able to It goes in every month, and the fee I believe is $150. It may be like 140, 145, but that's every year, and you write it off on your taxes. So you write off $150 towards the Wisconsin Revenue Services. But you do have the ability to. The good thing is you have the ability to write it off, and it does give you a lot more liability protection.
Okay, got it. All right. Let's see
Yeah.
if there's any questions in the chat. Let's see. Elder Perry is agreeing with something that we said. He said yes. And all right, we're good to go. All right, what's next on the list for tonight?
Hold on. So let me just. So I know I said a mouthful, but I can't emphasize this enough, that if you have an idea and you have a market that you want to do in, start. Just I think the best way to say start. Get yourself an LLC, and you can always merge it or open up another S corporation or a C corporation. But I really would prefer that you start at start. So if you have a business and it is a sole proprietor, you're putting yourself in an unnecessary position to be liable that may render a lot of your property, even the property that's not associated with the business, liable, because as a sole proprietorship, you hold everything under your name. So yeah, start at start. So that's the best thing I can tell you, is that instead of trying to stay a sole proprietorship, become an LLC. The movement, the change is very free flowing. There's not a whole lot of paperwork. There's not a whole lot of setup costs. The LLC does protect you in many different ways. So start at start, and make sure you do your proper works to get that taken care of.
All right. Let's see. Did you want to have the PowerPoint back up? Do you have another point you want to discuss tonight?
Oh, yes. Okay. So when it comes to taxes, I did tell you about taxes. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, take notes. You do want to, the taxes is the biggest thing that I can talk about when it comes to legal structures. As you make it, and when I say as you make it, I mean it will be ups and downs, but as you make it, having the right tax structure helps tremendously, and it brings you a lot more money than I can possibly tell you. Because if you talk to your accountant, if you talk to your CPA, if you talk to your bookkeeper, if you do TurboTax, Jackson Hewitt, H&R Block, taxrevenue.com, whatever you want to, whatever software or installation or financial institution you want to use, if you have multiple companies, you want to make sure, or if you have a company, you want to make sure you have it underneath, an LLC or a S corporation, a LLC or a corporation.
Okay. And you mentioned, say those tax, you said, are those like online services for taxes that you just mentioned?
Oh, sorry. So it's a lot of corporations that do taxes. So the H&R Block does taxes. Jackson Hewitt does taxes. You also have online services that do taxes. So you got like one is like TurboTax does a service. IRS it's IRS, but it's not. It's IRS like .com. They do taxes, and these are like random tax companies. You got the CPA. I forgot the name of the CPA, but it's a CPA corporation that does taxes. You got accountants that do taxes. You got bookkeepers that set you up so your taxes can be done a lot faster. But all of them have a lot of understanding of the laws and rules that go along with it. And the general purpose of having an LLC is for liability purposes. So you want to have a company because it serves you better to have a backing, so people won't be able to come after your house or your home. They can only take the business in case something bad was to happen.
Okay, got it. Let's see. So you're saying, this is from Deacon Boone. Let me put this question up. So you're saying with an LLC, there's a monthly fee?
Oh, no. So sorry about that. If I said that incorrectly, let me just clarify that. It's not a monthly fee, it's an annual fee. So if you start an LLC inside the state of Wisconsin, the annual fee is less than $150 annual. So once a year, I do have an LLC. JOJ Properties is an LLC. Mind Us is another company that's coming out. All of those cost 100. I want to say $150, but it's right now I think it's less than that. But every month, I I know I'm keep messing up. So, every year, annually. Let me just say annually, because I'm not annually. Annually, the cost is $150 or less. Annually. There is no monthly subscription fee. There is nothing that you have to do in your LLC. It is just annually about $150 per company. So if you got 3 or 4 different companies out there, even if you are making a company for one of your kids, it still costs $150 annually for that company to exist or be in good standings. I guess that's a better way to put it. It costs $150 for the company annually to be in good standings.
Yeah. And I wanted you to talk about that because I wasn't aware of that. And so I think I found out when I went in to do something and I had some fees on there. So you want to make sure that you pay those and you're aware that that's a annual fee that you'll receive.
Yes. Unfortunately, if you're not aware and you do create it, they're going to send you a blue card. It's typically blue. Sometimes it's green. To my eyes, it looks green sometimes. To somebody else, it looks blue. So they're going to send you out a little small card and they're going to give you a website on it. Go to the website, you'll pay your annual fee, and you'll be in good standings with the state of Wisconsin. I don't know what will happen if you're not in good standings. I've never been out of good standings. So I don't know what happens with your business, but I do know that if you're in business to make money, it's best to be in good standings with the state that you're running your business out of.
Yes. All right. Elder Perry said it's blue.
It's blue. Small differences. I'm telling you, green and blue is small differences. It's all in the eyes. It's all in the eyes.
All right. Do we have any other questions regarding the fees or annual fees? I don't see any in the comments, so I think we're good to go with that.
Okay. The next one is after you got your business up, after you got your idea, you did your marketing research, you got your planning, you got your company. Let's deal with the financing. Okay. Financing is, now remember, we're taking a business that you already have, like you're already baking goods. You already have an idea for a new skateboard. You already have all of these things in. You already have your business put together. You have your EIN, and now you want to figure out, well, how much money does it cost? Do I need to buy equipment? Now, if you was with us, I want to say, 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago on Financial Fridays, it was a whole host of different avenues that you could take to make revenue. Avenues to make revenue. Good. I like that. So it was a whole lot of different avenues you could take to make revenue that didn't cost a lot. It was mostly time. If you need more than that, if you actually need money, this is where in the beginning, when I talked about being financially stable, when you're putting 20% of your income into this idea. Now, remember, that's what the whole financial formula was, is so you can fund your initial startup. So you're taking 20% of your income, and that should be how you start up your business. That should be the budget that you utilize in order to get your business going. And that's why we have steps. So now you're estimating how much it costs to market your product, how much it costs to move your product, how much does it cost to make your product. And then this is where creating a budget with financial projections to cover at least the first 5 years. And when I say the first 5 years is because most companies die out in the first 5 years. And when I say most, I do mean the number is roughly 95%. It may be as high as 97%, but it's at least 95% of new companies die out within the first 5 years. And the reason for that is because they have poor planning. Unfortunately, many people think that you can wing it, but you really can't wing money. You really can't wing how much you spend. You really have to plan it out. And if something may cost a little bit more or a little bit less, it's good to have a plan. That way you have a budgeted structure that you can at least adjust off of.
Okay.
Oh, the third one was about crowdfunding. So if you really need money and you really need a lot of things to happen, you can do things like take money out of your personal savings, invest in personal loans or business loans. You can talk to other investors, or you can do crowdfunding. Those are also other areas at the bottom that allow you to get the startup costs you need.
Okay. So when you talk about estimating these startup costs and equipment and all the supplies and things, do you just use an average number? You go and you do some research. Okay, you need an oven to bake, and you go and you find the best oven and the most effective oven, and then you just kind of go in the middle. How would you give advice to really put that budget together before you know what things actually cost?
Oh, that's up to your industry. Typically, I like to Google a lot of my industry competitors because I can see what they're doing. When you're just starting off, and let's say we take a baker, the baker doesn't need a facility when they're just starting. What they mostly need is customers to buy the baked goods. What they mostly need is to get their name out there. So the best thing for them to do is to see how much does a cupcake sell for. Because if you know what a cupcake sells for, then you know what your cupcake need to be in a range of. If a small cupcake, if a 3-finger cupcake sell for $1.50, and you were like, well, mine's the best, and you sell yours for $9, it's hard for you to understand why your cupcake isn't selling. But if you're in the market, if this is $1.50 and you sell yours for $1, now you're in range of what you should be selling it for. Now you backwards plan to see how much it costs to make that individual cupcake. And then that's how you set your pricing, and that's how you find out how much it costs to make all your items.
Okay.
To put it more simply, you always want to backwards plan from your customer to your facility. You don't plan from your facility to your customer. You plan from your customer to your facility, because it's not enough to make it. It got to be sold. So when you do a service for somebody, it's not enough that you think it's the best. It has to be in the hands of the person buying it to appear to be the best. So when you think about how much things cost, you always want to Google first, and then you want to go from the customer all the way back to yourself. And that will give you a better idea of how much everything costs.
Okay, got it. Lady Burns, good evening. She said, I think I've heard of crowdfunding, but is it what the name says, get a crowd to fund your business? If so, are there various crowdfundings?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I could touch on this for a while. So when it comes to crowdfunding, there's a ton of them. Crowdfunding is so lucrative that there's also scams out there for crowdfunding. And I can't talk about the scams because a scam can pop up tomorrow. So when it comes to crowdfunding, the benefit of crowdfunding is that you can go to Facebook, you can go to Instagram, you can go to YouTube, and you can source out, I should say, social media. You can source out the social media and say, everybody, I need y'all to pull together so we can open up the doors to my new bakery, right? Because we're talking about a bakery. And then people from on the social media platform will give money to you. That's crowdfunding. You're putting your information out there, and now people are diving in to fund your adventure. And then once you make it, you're like, hey guys, I want to thank everybody for crowdfunding. This also happens if somebody was to do a death in a family, not do a death, but somebody was to die in a family. Oftentimes, the family comes together. This is before social media. The family comes together and says, okay, it costs $5,000. Who has what? And once we talk about it, then everybody gives a portion. That is crowdfunding. It's just not the social media platform, but that's the form of crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is just one person is the administrative and everybody is pouring money into that one person. If you come to a church event and somebody is in need and they're in true need, the church can crowdfund together and we can help that individual in that time of need. So crowdfunding has many different names. Yeah, like GoFundMe. I just seen that pop up. Yes, like GoFundMe. GoFundMe is a way of crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is really good, but there are scams out there. Like some people use crowdfunding for nothing. So that's why sometimes crowdfunding is hit or miss. My best recommendation for crowdfunding is that you fund people that you know or people that you have watched and you have seen them grow over time. Like certain comedians, if you want to subscribe to a channel, you're actually giving money to a service. That could be a form of crowdfunding. But typically crowdfunding is you're not getting any benefit. They just saying, hey, I need you to help me and I need 200 people to give me $5, right? And now you have $1,000, and that's crowdfunding. So it is very beneficial. It is very lucrative. Unfortunately, some people do take advantage of that, and they do use it for nefarious means.
Yeah, there's so many different types of scams out there, so you got to be very careful of what you're connecting to and giving your money to. You in this last portion where you're talking about different types of funding, we just had the business credit workshop, and that would fall in this area too, correct?
Yes. It's a little different though. Credit is different because you're tying yourself. So if you was to do credit, you're typically it's how you use your credit. So your credit is typically allowing you to do other things with that. Some people do use a credit as a funding option to. I think I was on Instagram and somebody said, I bought a house with my credit card. I don't know how you're buying $100,000+ house with a credit card, but hey, you know what? If you have that credit, good. That's great. That's a form of a loan, actually. So if you was to use a credit card to buy a house and a property, and then you use your credit in order to improve that property, you're typically using it as a loan, because some companies are better at giving you a credit card than they are at giving you a personal or a business loan. It's all in how you utilize the funding that you have in order to achieve what you want to achieve.
All right. Latrita has a question. She's asking, so what is an angel investor? Excuse me.
Oh, angel investors are really good people. I'm actually trying to become an angel investor. So basically, an angel investor wants you to improve yourself. So they're giving you money to improve yourself. They're typically, or another identity of an angel another identity of an angel investor will be more of a silent partner. They're there to help you proceed, and they're typically good in their field, or they have the money to back up your idea. So angel investors are really good people. It's hard to be a venture capitalist and an angel investor. So as a person, if you become an angel investor, you have a generous heart, and I think the world of you. And I think those are really, really good people.
Okay, and you said that's the difference between an angel investor and what?
A venture capitalist.
And tell us about a venture capitalist.
Oh, anybody ever seen the TV show called Shark Tank?
Okay.
All of those people are venture capitalists. They're literally only looking for a product that has a monetary benefit to them, for them, towards them. An angel investor is not that way. An angel investor is looking for a product or service that has a benefit for a nation, a country, a culture, a community. The benefits are different. So as an angel investor, your main objective is to find items or services that will benefit a group of people. And by being an angel investor, you do make money, but even if you don't make a lot of money, you're still putting in or adding a benefit so someone else can make it. As a venture capitalist, that is most certainly not the case. Your goal is to make money. You're out there to actually make money. That's why when you see Shark Tank, they often let you know that they want a big portion of the company, because their idea of giving money is so that they will have a monetary value in that company. And sometimes they want to have a stake in a company to make decisions if in case the company does not do well. The angel investor is not doing that. The angel investor merely wants you to learn and become better at your craft or at what you're doing. So that's why an angel investor is typically a person who's already good in that field. They just want to see someone else make it, which I think is a fabulous work.
That is amazing. I love that. I'm striving to be that too.
Yeah.
So, let's see. This time goes so fast, Brother James. So
how far are we?
It is 8:08. So yeah, how many?
Yeah.
Where are we with your slides?
We like number 4. I think financial planning is 4. We still got we still got a bunch more to go, like brand development, product design. Okay. You know what? If we have to, we can move it on to next week, and we'll finish up next week. But I want to make sure that if you're taking notes, you're getting the notes down packed. If you're asking questions, I would like to answer as many questions as I can, because at the end of the day, it's not about running through a plethora of information. It's about making sure everyone has the right information to make the right decisions so they can proceed and become financially stable. So that's the purpose of this.
Exactly. And so there aren't any more questions in the chat. So if you want to go to your next point, we can do that. Okay.
So after you got the money, you want to consider brand development. So what is branding? Easy. If you look at the top of this chart, you'll see that the brand is listed. So Rise and Thrive is a brand. It has a logo. It has colors. When you see it anywhere, you know what Rise and Thrive means, right? When you see Jericho, Church Without Walls, it has a name. It has a brand. It has a logo. You know what it means. When you see the 3 keys, it's a brand, it's a logo. You know what it means, what it represents. Now, I can talk more vividly about all 3. So let me go into it. When you design a brand, you want to secure it with a domain name. That's so everyone can understand what you're doing. So when you see Rise and Thrive, you should know it's about making you a better person, making you a more informed person, doing well, because that's what the logo means. They want you to rise and thrive. That's what this whole show is about, and many more shows like it. They want you to do better. So when you see Rise and Thrive, that's what it means. That's what the branding is. That's what it's doing. When you see Jericho, Church Without Walls, the name, even though if you look at it hard enough, it's called Jericho. It's Church Without Walls. So when you see that logo anywhere, you know that that is a religious organization, and that religious organization is in the market of making sure you are secured both physically, spiritually, and mentally, because the one of the benefits of Jericho is that we reach, rebuild, and we serve. So if you get the vision builder packet, then you know what Jericho Church Without Walls is all about. It's all about elevating yourself and moving beyond the four walls of the church to administer the gospel to everybody. Now, when I designed the three keys, it wasn't designed. My design particularly is three keys, but it wasn't designed for one company. The three keys actually is designed for three different companies. And those companies all deal with unlocking a person to do what their God-given talent, ability, and fortitude would allow them. Because everybody has these three keys. You have time, you have talent, and you have abilities. So if I was to unlock your time, your talent, and your abilities through three different words, Grapha, Logos, Rhema. If those three words can unlock everything that you have inside of you. So that's why my logo, the image, and when I say my logo, is not. The JLJP logo also represents another company called Selah. This logo, the three keys, also represents another company called Mind Us. And these companies represent the logo. So when you see the logo, that's what it represents, unlocking what God has in store for you. So when you see any of those logos, that's what your logo should mean. When you present your logo should be the impression of the vision that God gave you. And then not just the vision, but where do you want it to go? What is it doing? And that's what makes logos so personable. Kodak does not mean camera, but now it does. Polaroid doesn't mean camera. Now it does. Walmart doesn't mean inexpensive goods. Now it does. Your name doesn't have to be Susan's Bakings, right? You don't have to say you're baking. You could just say sweet treats, right? And then that way you allow yourself, if you want to do car designs, if you want to do candy, if you want to do candy corn, you want to do baking, you want to do interior decorating, everything that you're doing is under the sweet treats banner. And that's what your logo should be. Your logo should be an instant banner of what the customer should expect from you and what you should be presenting to the customer.
Yeah, that's really good. And so when you, especially when you create a name for your business, I should know what that is when I see it. And like you said, your logo with your three keys, if we're looking at that, then we're saying, okay, that's intriguing. It's like, well, what does that mean? What is, you know what I'm saying? It's intriguing to me about the three keys and with your wording on there. So that's important for us to brand ourselves. So when people see that, they know what they're going to get, and they know that's you.
And I think the logo is one of the most important parts. I think I have 26 different logo colors for so when people see the three keys, they don't know it's like 26 different logo colors. Black and white, infrared. I got it in all white, all black. I got it in blue. I got it in gray. I got it in multiple colors, because when you build something, you don't want somebody to copyright it. So you want to make it a trademark. And that's the reason why, even though it's three keys, that doesn't represent the name of the company, because the company is one company, is JLJ Properties. But the three keys has to represent every company that comes from the vision God gave me. So every company uses the same logo, because if I'm doing a speaking engagement, or I have somebody speaking to someone else and they use the Mind Us logo, it's the three keys logo. But that logo means that we're there to unlock yourself using the word of God. JLJ Properties, it's for owners, but it tells owners, if they see the logo, it is to unlock them to use their property in the most fulfilled way possible through the love of God. When you see C-Lot and you want to rest, guess what? The 3-key logo tell you that you can unlock the door and be at rest. Everyone has his own mission statement. Every company has its own ideas and own persona. But the 3 keys is all about unlocking yourself through the Word of God. So that's where everyone should be trying to attain. Now I do want to make this real particularly. I want to make this real specific. When I had my vision of the keys, this is what came out, because it was a multifaceted organization. When I thought about it, it touched everything. So that's why 3 companies have the same image. When it comes to you, every company doesn't have to have the same image or the same logo. It can have 3 different logos. It can have a combination of logos. I seen the Puzzle logo, which I thought was really good. It's like an 8-unit company, and they have like one picture is here, another picture is here, another picture is here, and if you put the pictures together, it forms like a circle. I was like, oh, that is so neat. But that just isn't the vision that I had. You can have 3 different companies that have 3 different logos that do 3 different things. So I want to let you know that a logo is something that someone can identify before they see you, before they see a representative of yours, before they see a group, before they see your interpretation of any product, any services. When you see the golden arches, you know what that is. If I say golden arches, your mind gives you an idea of what you're going to get. Whether bad or good, you know what the golden arches is. That's what your logo should be. Your logo should be so ingrained that when I say, man, y'all remember them Polaroids? Everyone has an idea of a Polaroid that I shook in my hand or I blew on it and it came up with a picture, right? Everybody has that. It's ingrained in us because that's what your logo means. When I say Canon camera, everybody has an idea. Some long scope camera, some dude peering out, seeing an eagle fly past at like 300 miles an hour, right? Because that's what it means now. But that's what your logo got to turn into. So when people see your logo and they see what you can do, they need to know that you are the best at what you do.
All right. And when you brought up the golden arches, I came across this information that they have changed their logo like 7 or 8 times, but it's always the golden arches. It can be a big and small or a different color on there, but throughout the years, they've changed their logo. So you don't have to, people don't know that you can change. You can evolve from the logo that you have now. That might not be the same logo, but it'll be similar so that people can still identify that that's you.
Yeah, that was so funny. I didn't even know that. I'm like, I remember back in the day they had the golden arches, and I think it was just 2 fries. Literally, I think the golden arches is 2 fries.
Right.
Yeah, right. It's just 2 fries, and I was like, oh, that's neat. It's like we did a story, or I seen a video where they had like the tortillas. It's a logo, but it's 2 people holding a chip. So the eye is like 2 people, and I was like, dude, that is so boss. I wish I would have thought of that. And imagine, but just imagine when they first came out, somebody probably didn't think of that design, and they probably asked one of the employees there, was like, "Hey, do anybody want to have a regular crazy design?" And somebody designed it like, look, the tortillas and somebody's holding a chip, and they was like, "That's it, new design change."
Yeah,
I mean, with anybody
here, where we are, we can always adjust, tweak it. Make it to what we want it to be. But in our few minutes that we have left, Brother James, you want to just do a quick recap of what we talked about tonight? Just a brief, go down the list of things we talked about.
Okay. So I gotta bring up my trusty notebook. So first we talked about, here we go. There we go. We're gonna start from 1. Okay, so we will get to most of this later, but if you notice, we're at brand development. We're right at halfway, so we're at the perfect opportunity to start. First, we're going to talk about idea generation and research. This is what you do personally. With idea generation, you always want to make sure that you're striving after something in which you have an interest in, or a passion in, or a skill in, because that will make you a better person to identify the items that are needed, as well as be necessary to do the research to get it all done. Market analysis and planning is where you go out and now you're asking people back and forth. This is where you're communicating that, hey, these are my intentions. What do you think? What do you think? You think we should do this? We think we shouldn't do this. And that's when the whole skateboard idea came into play. When you talk about the legal structure, moving on to legal structure and registration, once you get done having an idea and market analysis, you want to do a legal structure. My recommendation in the beginning is to do an LLC. Once you do an LLC, you become a limited liability corporation. You can choose other entities. That's just the one that I seen. That's just the one that seemed to be the most beneficial for people who starting out because it's not as much paperwork to get that started. Moving past the LLC, you got to register your name and you have to obtain different permits. I am telling you that if you do an LLC, there's an annual cost of $150. So when you replay this, it is not monthly. It is an annual cost of about $150 to keep yourself positive with the city. Next, we will talk about financial planning. Financial planning is where we went into about you estimating your startup costs, how much your equipment costs, how much your supplies cost. And remember, when you're transitioning from your business, if you have one, to a corporation or an LLC, you want to make sure that when you're starting up, that you're doing your due diligence of doing the research. You can use Google, you can use some AI source if you would like to, but you want to make sure you're doing proper research so you at least have a good idea of how much money you need. Versus guessing, estimates are always better than a guess because an estimate is showing you what other people are doing, and now you're looking at what the trend is and you're setting yourself to that trend so you can hit the market and be running with a positive result. I can't stress this enough, but inside of financial planning, you gotta do a budget. That means plan out the next 5 years. What are you doing? What does your marketing look like? What does your finances look like? What do you project to receive in year 4 or year 3? Because those things will help you know what you need to hit or targets you need to go for. And lastly, for this evening is brand development. Like I talked about in many situations, what people see, the brand that they see is what they will associate with. So it's not just your name that has to be identifiable, but you also need to have a logo or a trademark that people can look at and say, I know what I'm getting when I go there. If you have to utilize this on a social platform, you have to be more relevant to your target audience. So you want to make sure that everything you're doing fall within that brand development. And that is where we are currently.
Well, this has been a really informative night. I liked focusing on that legal structure and registration part because that's an area that most don't have information about. We just say, okay, I'm going to get this LLC or I'm going to start this business, but there's some financial obligations that go along with those type of decisions. And so making sure that we're aware of that. Before we close out, we want to talk about the Funding Your Dreams workshop, which is on tomorrow. Yes, there's still time, I believe, for you to register. Let me just pull up that flyer.
Yes. So if you're not there, I will definitely be there. You never too old. You never know too much. You never know not enough to listen to somebody who's doing it tell you how they're doing it. Because remember, you are a lifelong learner and you must understand how to navigate your business through the ups and downs, the ebbs and the flows. So I will be there looking to get more information on how to fund my dream.
I'm definitely going to be there. I can't wait to get some more information about funding my dreams, funding my visions, and getting some step-by-step tools. So if you have not registered yet, there's still time. You can go ahead and do that at dradburns.com/events. I'll put it right here in the chat. so that you can go ahead and register. The registration is $25,
Yes.
and you receive a workbook. I think it's continental breakfast and lunch. You can't beat that for $25, right?
Yes. Yes.
Along with the information. Those workbooks have been so beneficial because I can go back and I can, if I have a question, I can go back and page through those workbooks and find the answers that I need so I can move my business forward. So make
Yeah.
sure that you register for that um, ASAP so that you'll be on the list when you arrive on tomorrow morning.
And even as a person who had, even as a person who's like, yeah, I got it, I know everything. You never know what you don't know. I have learned a lot from going to these workshops, so I can't tell you enough. I may know a lot of what they're saying, but you never know that one key element that someone may say and say, I was doing this, and you'd be like, that's that
Good.
piece.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I have found that out going to the workshop, like the one we had recently, the improving your credit or the credit establishment. When I say I knew a lot of those answers, I knew a lot of those answers, but I didn't know all those answers. And he said something that I actually had to go back and I looked at my notes and I took some notes. And I was like, I'm going to start that tomorrow. And literally, I've been on a whole journey to make sure that I am doing those things, opening
Yeah.
up multiple accounts, getting my
Yeah.
LLCs incorrect, getting my S corporations incorrect, doing those due diligent things that
Mhm.
okay, that's one thing that I'm missing. And I went back and I researched, is what he's saying correct? Is what he's saying, is what he's doing good? And
Mhm.
I got within myself and I said, okay, it is. Let's
Mhm.
knock out these things that I'm missing. So you never know what you don't know, even for the seasoned investor and the most skilled person. You never know what you don't know until it happens. So I do want you to be out there.
I agree, James. I like that all of the speakers have been very candid. They've
Yeah,
been, upright and forth with good information and their personal testimonies and their mistakes, so
yeah,
that I don't have to go that route because they said that didn't work. They're successful, so I can follow the path that they took, so that I can have those. Um, so that I don't have to go through those challenges on my own. I already have the answers. So yeah, I can't wait till tomorrow. I can't wait for the workshop. I can't wait for the information so that I can apply it to my business. James,
yeah.
did you want to have any final remarks? Uh, if not, then you can go ahead and pray us out for tonight.
Okay, before I pray, get there. That's my if you ain't signed up, get there. If you don't think it's worthy, get there. You don't know what you don't know. I can't express that enough because I think I'm really good at what I'm doing. And I'm telling you, you don't know what you don't know. It's so much information that was out there that was presented and given to me that I literally I got notebooks on the last one that I wasn't able to attend. I got a notebook with a bunch of notes on what I was able to attend. I'm going. So if you're listening to me, I'm telling you I'm going. So when you see my information, just know that I went. So that's the best information I can give you. Go and be there. Have a good time. Eat a bunch of food. But with much love, I want to tell you that everything we do come with responsibilities. So I will be irresponsible to tell you that I did everything myself. You always going to need somebody to help you out. So this is an opportunity for you to help yourself. Help yourself. So let us pray. God, we thank you for this time, this evening, this experience, that we were able to answer questions, give information, and have everybody on the same page so we all can become financially stable as well as move forward successfully. In Jesus' name, we thank you for this night and this evening. In Jesus' name, amen, amen, and amen.
Man,
Yes, all my grinders. That's what I'm talking about. That's what. uh, I got to give a
all
shout out
right.
to the hustlers too.
You had to give a shout out to who?
The hustlers too. Got to get a shout out to the hustlers.
You gotta give this. You gotta. You can't leave them out because they going. Some days they're a grinder, and some days they're a hustler, and some days they're grinding and hustling.
Oh
So you
yeah.
can't. them out. All right. Well, thank you, Brother James, for all of this great information tonight. On behalf of Dr. Burns, thank you all for tuning in to Financial Friday through Rise and Thrive. You guys have an amazing, blessed night, and we'll see you again next week. Be blessed.